Yenu, Brabeso Yemu, Ejo, Bodo, Anana Nume, Nina Bronco, baby. Benjamin Tina mi muse Roma efepa Roma ye nice Sekra ye fine Bibi sayana ye si mahama ne ye Waya dio Koshe rijisu Koshe kotoka Sisi sku wadai Muma ye mpini ne waya dio Ye pezu Mahama ye peza Ye pezu Su ye peza Mahama enkasa Frisa fedie yehu Hey Yasiya za fedie yehu Yemodu Yebreo Na yebreo Na yebreo Na yebreo Yebrepa Echo Kodo
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is the third edition of the UK and Ireland Chapters program, which seeks to talk about the People's Manifesto. Tonight's one is the third edition, and tonight we will be talking about the agri sector and agro-business. We will touch a little bit on the environment as well, and I'm so excited to be talking about this because I have some very powerful men with me who are going to be discussing with me all the issues therein that we will be talking about when inshallah our flag bearer, NDC flag bearer, President John Dramani Mahama wins power and is sworn in 7th of January, what the good people of Ghana should be expecting from us. My name is Michael Kudiabora. I'm the Secretary for NDC UK and Ireland Chapter. And with me are
Alhaji Alhassan Balwa, Chairman for UK and Ireland Chapter.
And to my left,
Musa Adamu, the organizer, UK Ireland Chapter, NDC.
Powerful. And along the line, we will be joined by Dr. Aaron Alesane. He's an expert who will be sharing a few expertise thoughts on agriculture and agribusiness, for that matter. He has PhD in finance, livelihoods, and inequality, PG certificate in leadership, and PG certificate in project management as well. But before we start, I'm going to take you back to yesterday, something that happened last night. The NDC UK and Ireland Chapter came up with a press conference, and in that press conference, we drew the people of Ghana's attention, as well as the President of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo, about the current situation where we have so much insecurity, and the good people of Ghana are very worried about their safety and their security. We sought to give the people of Ghana and the world the diaspora's perspective on how we're worried about what is going on back home in Ghana. So we will have a sneak peek into what actually happened tonight, where our communication officer, Mr. Simon Awarigo, addressed the press conference.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, invited press, compatriots, ladies and gentlemen. The UK and Ireland Chapter of the National Democratic Congress comes to you this evening to seek your time and attention as we speak to the current disturbing state of insecurity in our beloved country, Ghana. As Ghanaians living outside Ghana, who continue to contribute immensely towards the economy, it is obvious that we take interest in the happenings in Ghana as it affects us either negatively or positively. The current fast deterioration in the peace safety and security in Ghana is a matter that causes us a great deal of distress and sleepless nights. We receive phone calls, videos, and messages of violent attacks, murders, assassinations, and highway robberies nearly every day. Relatives and loved ones keep telling us how they now live in fear for their lives and don't feel safe. To mention but a few, the year also was well gone by election violence by national security operatives attacking innocent citizens who had queued to exercise their civic responsibility. The gruesome murder of the investigative journalist Ahmed Swale, the shooting and subsequent death of a timber merchant in the Ahotor region when he was opening the gate to his house in the evening after a hard day's work. The killing of the University of Ghana law lecturer, Professor Bene, in his house, the murder of a businessman in the Volta region. The NDC youth organizer for Pusiga, as my colleague had earlier on said in the introduction, was also shot dead in the Upper East region recently. There was this attack as well. Officials of the NDC in the Ashanti region who were going about campaigning were robbed at gunpoint, and it only took the divine intervention of God for their lives to be spared. As if these violent attacks and killings are not enough, we woke up in the morning of 9th October 2020 to read on social media and received phone calls from Ghana about the gruesome killing of a member of parliament for Infansiman, Eko Kwanzaa Hayford. The Peace Council meeting in the northern region was also invaded by gunmen, and a senior official of NIA was shot dead. It has become one too many. These needless and untimely deaths need to stop. There is currently an average of one assassination, murder, or contract killing a month in Ghana. This is certainly unacceptable and not known to be part of us as Ghanaians. We have always been a peaceful people, and we've always lived in peace.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard a small part of the press conference, an excerpt of the press conference that the UK and Ireland chapter had last night, which depicts the worries and the concerns of the diaspora, and I'm very sure that if you go back and listen to the whole press conference, that is, if you were not able to do so, you would have at least an insight into all the issues that we spoke about, and I'm sure that it might be a worry for you as well, especially if you are in the diaspora, and that includes everyone in Ghana as well. So I'm going to come back to my panelists in the studio, and first of all, I will go to my good friend Musa Adamu, the NDC UK and Ireland chapter organizer, to tell us his views on the security situation in Ghana and why we must be very concerned about what is going on.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's a very serious issue, and we all know that for every country to progress or to develop, one of the most key things that investors or businesses will look is as to whether they are safe physically, and also their investments are safe at wherever they will go to. And then also the mandate of every government is to make sure that its citizens are safe. So what is going on in Ghana now, it's a worrying situation. It is not just a Ghana matter, but an international issue. This issue needs to be nipped in the bud, because as a country which has been blessed with so many natural resources, all that we have to do is to tap into the good and the best of a country. We are not supposed to use this same blessing against ourselves. Investors need peace. Citizens need to be safe. Everybody, even our parents, and even we, those who live in diaspora, look up to our country and also like to sell our country to the outside world. You know, so to sell your country to the outside world, it needs to be peaceful, it needs to be safe, it needs to be great, that whoever will invest his money into the people and to the area definitely want something back, and it's definitely not a country where it's unsafe. So that is my take on that.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Adamu Musa. It's really a worrying situation at the moment, and we're calling on the president to ensure the safety and security of Ghanaians, because, I mean, how can Ghanaians live in, go on their daily lives and get the best that they can for themselves and their family if they feel that very insecure, if they feel unsafe for their lives?
Yes, Michael, so, and then a quick one, let me just let you know that there has been some serious, very, very serious and graphic images that is coming from some parts in the Western region. One of the MPs, whom, if you are all aware, they had an issue, Meku Duka, who is an MP, and also he had
I was just receiving that information as well.
He had an argument with his party secretary, Charles Bisu, where they actually have fisticuffs.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine people in such high positions have turned themselves into people of violence? Today, I've just received serious problems and serious graphic images coming from this area, purported to be an attack on this Mr. Merkuduka's family. Okay. That is a continuation of what happened earlier on last month. You know, so where are we going? Where are we going? We all want a country to grow. So for a president, a sitting president, and within his own political party, if they are visiting such horrific mayhem on their own people, imagine what is going to happen on other people that they don't have any link with. It is a worrying situation, and we need His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government to sit up, because this is an internal thing, and it's even getting more worrying.
This is quite troubling. It's quite troubling. So, Chairman Alhaji Al-Hassan, what's your take on what is going on at the moment?
Starting from yesterday, the communication officer and his team gave a catalog of high-profile security incidents throughout the country. So I'm not going to belabor it on that much. I mean, if times permit, this program, we may have to dedicate one day to discuss security generally. But all what I will say is quite worrying. We have this kind of security concerns in the country, and yet the president, who is the chief commander-in-chief, he's not even said anything about it. Forget about the domestic issues. I'm not minimizing it, but for the first time in the history of our country, since our independence, we have a particular separatist, if I may call it that way, trying to secede from Mother Ghana. And we are yet to hear any official statement from the Jubilee House. The last time the President John Mahama flagged it up, the president's response was that he kept quiet because he didn't want to say anything, because if he talks, Ghanaians will panic. For God's sake, he swore to protect the territorial integrity of Ghana. What is? And now you have a number of people trying to break away, and the president is not saying anything. So it's about time we the president hold a press conference to outline some of these security issues, and to also tell Ghanaians and the international community what his government is doing.
Absolutely, Ghanaians need that assurance.
But you see, all these things starts from when he became president. We have issues like Ayawasu, Wagon by election, which a full commission of inquiry was set up, the Emelsort Commission.
Yes.
Up to now, we don't know what came out of it. And even at the seat of government, Osu Castle, political militia linked to the government of the day were being trained there. And when Manisa Azure flagged that up, as usual, they set up a committee, and nothing came out of it. Because some of these things, so it gives people the hope to go around committing crime, because at the end of the day, the security agencies are not on top of their game. And for the first time in the history of our country, we have the National Security Minister, Defense Minister, Interior Minister, count them, the BNI, and yet the security situation there is deteriorating. I don't know. So for me, in order to return stability and peace and harmony, so that people can go about with their normal business without any fear, is to bring President John Mahama back. We can compare. It's clear, because we are not saying under John there wasn't issues like, but what we are saying now is unprecedented.
It is. Because it's good you even made mention of what happened in the Volta region.
Yeah.
This is a situation where insurgents came into town, blocked roads, raided a police station, took arms and ammunition away, and for a period of 1 a.m. till 10 a.m. there was no intervention from the police.
Yeah.
Even when they knew that the police command, the Volta Regional Police Command knew and had heard, they had even been informed about, I think, even about 48 hours before the incident. Yeah. They did nothing about it. Yeah. And what happened? Eventually, these people came, they raided police station, the police station, took siege of the place, took arms and ammunition away, and took the... well, later on we heard that about 2 of them were apprehended, but it was too late. It was too late.
And let me tell you one thing. A father,
from 1 to 10
a lawyer. I mean, he gave the history of the Volta Togoland, which I applaud him for that. But in his conclusion, he said, look, if the guys want to break away, they need to ask for a referendum. I said, that is a dangerous thing to come from a member of parliament of a ruling party, because at the end of the day, Ghana is a unitary state. If those people are breaking away, then next day, then other regions will also say they want referendum to break away. We are not in the federal system where if a faction want to break away, they can act. It's illegal. It won't even be granted. So at least expected to hear that from a member of parliament. Let me just finish. And then the Medina MP, Boniface. Yeah. He also said, that those people, they don't like NDC. MPP, that's what they are doing, That when NDC was in government, why didn't he say they were breaking away? By NDC, when we were in government, we were not referring to them as foreigners in their own country. That is the difference. Okay. And when Katie Amor came out openly to refer some citizens of Ghana as foreigners, we are yet to hear any condemnation from the presidency. So all these things, it's about time we confront it and tell President Akufo-Addo Ghana is a united country and we want him to leave the scene and live in the country united as it was.
Exactly. Our flag bearer, our NDC flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has made his views very clear on that, and I hope that President Akufo-Addo will listen to him and make sure that he will bring safety and security to Ghanaians going into the general elections.
There is something that we haven't really looked at, and it also showed the level of frustration within the country. When young people are not finding a good job, when young people don't know where they are going and they are not being educated in a way that they have to respect each other, they have to respect their country, they have to also see themselves as people who come from a place
and matter.
And matter. These are some of the things. If there's a high level of unemployment and young people go about seeing other people overly spending money that they can't really account for, these are a recipe for disaster. I have always said that Ghana is a place where our land is so fertile. There's so many things that we can do as young people. So please, wherever you are now, if anybody is encouraging you to go and attack your fellow Ghanaian just because you disagree with them on political grounds, I'm afraid it's a wrong thing. Because don't forget, these people who might be encouraging you, who might be pushing you into this thing, have got their own families in different parts of the world living the large life. So what about you? think about yourself. Let's respect each other, and let's know that Ghana before anything else. That's what I would say. And His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo needs to take this issue very, very serious.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
is non-political. Look, if investors decide that they are not coming to Ghana, it is Ghana that loses. If villages and places are burnt down, it is the individuals that are going to struggle. These big politicians are not going to come round to the villages and rebuild it. All they want is to turn each other around. And we are not prepared to do that. The youth of Ghana needs to know that you have to agree to disagree. You do not always have to resort to violence. You know, you do not have to resort to violence. Ghana, we got great potentials. And that I think, and I really believe that whoever is watching me, we in diaspora are also thinking that we will come home and invest. But if we can't invest, how can a foreigner come and invest? That is my problem. Because if there is a job for young people to do, they won't be throwing their lives away. They won't resort to armed robbery and contract killing. It is something that we really have to look at and take it very serious as a country.
And if you look at the People's Manifesto, for instance, and you see, that is why I'm so excited about the People's Manifesto. You go in there and there is everything there for each and every Ghanaian. You just spoke about the youth. For instance, the TVET is a great opportunity for the youth to, at least if they think that they're not very academic, they think that it is too late for them to go back to school to learn, at least the TVET is there. They can continue with it gives them a very good opportunity for them to move on, at least learn a trade. Well, if for instance, if you the manifesto actually speaks about how you can actually go and learn a trade without necessarily having to look for money to go and give to maybe a master or a madam or that kind of thing. The government, the NDC government is going to take care of that. And even after you have graduated from the training, the government can also help in graduating, even for your graduation process as well. So it is something that the youth can take advantage of. I mean, going for it without having to necessarily, out of frustration, resort to some of these violent behavior just because maybe someone somewhere probably gives them a few CDs to go and do something untoward. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come back to the core topic for the night. So, like I said earlier on, tonight we're going to be talking about agriculture, agribusiness, and the environment per se, because they all link together. At a point, we are going to also be linked with, we're going to link Dr. Aaron Alassani by phone, and he's going to share a few words with us on that. He's going to give his expert opinions and views on what the NDC is offering in terms of in the agric sector linked with the environment and the rest of it. Now, agriculture. For instance, we know that the agriculture contributes to almost 54% of the gross domestic product for Ghana entirely, and out of that, and that contributes to 40% of our export earnings, which means that agriculture is a big thing in Ghana. So, which is why the NDC in our People's Manifesto has given it a lot of attention, and given the chance, our flag bearer, who would become president on the 7th of January, is going to roll out programs which would enhance the agric sector and give a certain kind of impetus to our farmers, and both in the animal husbandry and then also in crops as well. And then we're going to be talking about the cocoa sector as well, and what kind of programs that the People's Manifesto seems to roll out for the enhancement of the cocoa sector as well in Ghana, giving the chance on the 7th of December 2020. So I'm going to go straight to Chairman Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba to give us his general views on the manifesto promises that the NDC has rolled out that come 7th January when our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is sworn in, what he will start doing from day one.
Okay, thank you very much. As you rightly pointed out, agriculture continues to be the backbone of our economy. If you want to look at the contribution of that sector to the gross domestic product. So that was why even under President Mills, when we discovered oil in large quantities and started exploration and export, we still said we don't want to be infected by what is popularly known as what? The Dutch disease.
Yes.
Because when Dutch discovered oil, they abandoned the agricultural sector. And then later on, they were paying the price for it because oil is a depreciating what? A resource.
Yeah.
But with the agriculture and our environment, we the organizers said earlier on, we have comparative what? Advantage.
Given the right conditions.
Conditions. We can continue to use it to develop other sectors.
Yeah.
So if you look at the People Manifesto, we have clever crafted in such a way that the agri sector will continue to play. And that is why if you look at the heading, it's talking about agriculture and then what? Agri business. And in the past, we have always relied on what? Subsistence farming. The farmers cultivate their crops just to feed themselves and then something small to sell at the local market to raise cash. What NDC is thinking now is to make sure that we commercialize the agri sector so farmers can cultivate enough to feed our domestic need and still leave some for what? Export.
Yes.
The problem we have in Africa is limited market. Because if farmers produce in excess, where is the market for them if we can't provide for opportunities for the product to be what? Exported. And that's why NDC is saying we are going to make good use of the African continental free trade area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the ECOWAS free trade area. So when we are producing, our farmers will have it at the back of their minds that even if the domestic market cannot consume their product, there will be external market for them. But how can you produce or export if you don't add value to your agricultural produce? And there can the agri business. Mm-hmm. So what we are saying, we are not going to use the MPP's approach where they are going around singing that they are going to set up factories in every district. In our case, it's going to be zoned based on which area produce what products, and if they have comparative advantage, indexes will be set up in those areas so that to provide ready market for the agri produce to fit into them, who produce for our domestic market and some for export. So there are specific programs which, as we advance into this discussion, we will try to itemize them, and then people will understand ours is not going to be dams being washed away,
absolutely,
or being dried up by air, because there's a very comprehensive plan for irrigation.
Yes,
we'll touch on that. So over to you.
Yes. So, Mr. Musa Adamu, thank you so much, Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba, for giving us that great insight. Can I have your preliminary comments?
Well, thank you. It's always been said that even soldiers, they march on their stomach.
Yeah.
For every country to develop, you should be self-sustained. So self-sustenance.
That's the soldier man speaking.
Self-sustenance is one of the most important things that we have to look at. As a country, as I mentioned earlier on, we've been blessed with fertile land.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if you are walking around some parts of Ghana and you have corn in your pocket and it falls down on the ground, give it another 3 months and you go back and you have a corn crop.
Yeah.
That's how fertile Ghana is.
Yeah.
So from what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government decided to do is that we go back to the drawing board and think outside the box. We have everything that it takes. And then if we look at it, Ghana has also got a very strong, hard-working young men and women. And to have good agricultural business and also a good practice, you need workforce, you need the land. And all that needed to be done is actually putting these things together and make it work. Young people in Ghana wants job. NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has come out clearly. Said, yes, we know, because we have spoken to you, which is more about the manifesto. And guess what? The heading on that Greek is very fun. It says that fixing the economy and uniting against poverty.
Yeah.
That is a very powerful word.
Yeah.
You know, it is not just fixing economy, but we are actually uniting against poverty.
Yeah.
And what brings about poverty? It's lack of thinking, lack of survival of food, and lack of a place where you put your head. So when we are able to fix it, which agriculture is going to bring us so much on the table, it's going to feed us, so it reduces the export, the import of foreign goods, which also brings control over our foreign exchange. We also will have enough food to export, just as you said, to our neighboring countries and also to other parts of the world. And it didn't stop there. It says that, yes, for so many years, we have always been producing so many things, and all we do is just pack them in their raw state and export them. This time, it's changing. And it's changing so fast. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going in this way. He says that, look, we know that we have the workforce, and we also have the expertise. Even if we don't have the expertise, there is an avenue that has been created where young people can be trained to meet the transformation that we are coming into. You know, it's a big transformation. And if you look at the amount of jobs that agriculture can create within a short time, it's amazing. And if you add value to what you have, which is one of the core things that talking about cashew, talking about cocoa, talking about rice, talking about all the other produce. If you add value to it, we go to Tesco's here and go and buy peanut butter. It is big English. In normal term, we call it granite taste. And it is everywhere. You don't need big machinery to set these things up. So what we have to do is to make sure that there are all the things they need. And don't forget, there is something that is also changing, is going to change the trend. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and NDC has made it a point to tell our children that agriculture, it is not for the failure. To go into agriculture, it is not because you are uneducated. Because very soon, our engineers are going to be on the farms. Because if you go into mechanized agriculture, you will need engineers on the farm.
Absolutely.
You need an agric personnel on the farm. And then even after that, when you have a small factory and you are processing these things, you need electricians. You need builders. You need even factory hands. Even for the person who can't even read or write, at least can pack the things up, which is a job creation. So when we told Ghanaians that we're going to create over 1 million jobs, I think that we are just trying to be our usual selves so that we don't overspeak like other people who talk the talk, but don't do the work. But we are going to do the talk, and we know if it is feasible. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his team has visited every single person in Ghana and asked for the opinion. When they started asking, people started mocking us. Today, it is clear that they have seen it. Now, this is doable. Because I know, from a place that I come from, and let me take this opportunity to greet my people in the Afram Plains. Afram Plains is where I come from, and I love it. And don't forget, my people, I'll do a bit of commercial for my honorable. He is called Joseph Apia.
When we finish, you pay the bill.
Joseph Apia. He is the candidate for NDC for Afram Plains South. And we have Honorable Betty Crosby Mensah, the strong lady, who is also in the North, who are going to stand so tall.
And the reason why, isn't it?
Exactly. And the reason why I'm mentioning these people is that Afram Plains, some time ago, certain people saw the place to be a place where nothing can be done there. Thanks to our founder, Jerry,
because at a point
Rollins.
it was even unreachable.
Well, they say it was overseas.
Exactly.
Jerry Rollins made it part of Ghana. Thanks to him, you know.
Jerry John Rollins and the NDC, they saw something in us. And that is why I'm so excited about agriculture. Because, you know, even when they wanted to extend electricity to our village, they were saying it is not worth it. But Rollins and the NDC had a belief in us. Afram Plains, today, if you go there, that place, even now that we are having problem with road network, I can tell you that there was a time that there was no electricity. NDC got us electricity. And we have fertile land. And we are around the biggest man-made lake in the world, Lake Volta. And we are around Lake Obosom. We are connected to River Oti. We are connected to River Fram, which is a massive hub. And I encourage every investor and everyone who thinks that he is interested in agriculture and agro-business. And I know within this manifesto and what I'm looking at right now, Afram Plains is right in it. And we are going to make good use of it.
And the John Mahama's government will make sure that that
happens. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Now, I'll come to you, Alhaji Alassane Baba. Mr. Adamu touched on the issue about how young people can benefit from the kind of programs that the next government, the next NDC government is going to roll out. For instance, it says here that the next NDC government will attract 30% of school leavers into primary agriculture and agribusiness. Agribusiness entrepreneurship by, number one, providing agronomic and extension services support for production and agro-processing for the youth. 2, collaborating with TVET, and I mentioned TVET earlier on, TVET institution to activate agriculture-related entrepreneurship training and skills development. Can you throw a bit more light on that?
Yes, thank you very much, Mike. Look, our approach is going to be holistic.
Good.
First of all, our People's Manifesto made it clear that the budgetary allocation for the agri sector is going to increase. At the moment, it's less than 5%.
Yeah.
We are going to make sure that we'll increase it to at least 10% annually. And we are going to.
And that's not very good for a sector that gives us 40%.
I'm coming.
Of the country's
what
earnings.
They are going to do, they will link it up. They are going to have a multi-sector ministerial task force that we are going to realign it.
Yes.
Minister of Health, Minister of Agri, Minister of Rural Development, and we made it clear that we are going to set up Ministry for Youth Development. All these people will put part of their income together to make sure that they come out with holistic policies that will encourage the youth to invest in the agri sector.
Excellent.
So credit facility is going to be made more affordable at reasonable interest rate. So even the public servants, civil servants, the military, the security agencies, like organizers said, will be encouraged to go into agri.
That's a great incentive.
Sector.
Great incentive.
So if a medical doctor or a professor at the university is farming, of course, it will serve as motivation for school leavers to embrace agriculture. So in terms of the individual policies that we are going to do to attract, when we increase the national budgetary allocation to the sector, that will make facilities available for agriculture extension officers. And as we said, the TVET, is going to be vocational and technical training. Those who want to go into agri business or farming will be given the necessary skills to embark into it. So at the end of the day, it's not going to be a job that is available for the illiterates. Even the educated will be doing it. And you see, we are going to make sure that there will be year-round opportunities for people to engage in agriculture. Ours is not going to be the one dam, one district. What we have done, we are going to have a huge irrigation project across the country.
Fantastic.
16 regions. We have measures Upper East, Upper West, we have Tono, Via,
Yes.
And there's going to be one in Pram and Volta region. A big one. You don't necessarily need to embark on commercial farming in your community. If you can travel, and those who really want to do commercial farming and they are living in the cities, they don't even have the land for them to do it. So if the irrigation project is set outside, and people can move from their homes to go and employ laborers to cultivate on commercial basis, that would rather be more helpful and contribute positively to the economy than the current approach. You asked me, what has MPP done since they came to power in the agri sector? Their only flagship policy is the planting forward food and jobs.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, the contract, the loan, everything was contracted by John Mahama government. We are about to implement that planting for food and jobs, and then we lost the 2016 election. And no wonder when they came, because it was a Canadian grant, the money was already ready. They capitalized on that. And apart from that, you can't talk about anything. As I said, I'll give more example. So there's going to be a mechanized agricultural center, which we did it.
Yes.
Where some centers were given tractors.
Absolutely.
So local farmers who couldn't buy tractors will go and hire for them to go and plow their lands. So the system and policies are in place. It's just a matter of Ghanaians having confidence in John Mahama and give him second chance. And so when he comes, he will introduce these policies to make sure that agri will contribute to overall as a related development of Mother Ghana.
So thank you very much, Alhaji Alasan Baba, for that great submission. There is one also very, very important area which we need to avert our minds to, and there are some fantastic programs there for the fishing sector, and I want us to spend a few minutes to touch on that as well, because a few minutes from now we're going to get our expert in, Dr. Aaron Alesani, to also to hear his views and his comments on what the NDC, the next NDC government will be doing, and what he thinks about all the programs that have been rolled out in the People's Manifesto. So I'll come to you, Mr. Adamu.
Yes. Okay, due to the time constraint, I know there's so much on the agriculture and agro-business that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But we can't just sit here without mentioning the numerous mouth-watering things that our farmers should be looking forward to.
Yes.
And this, I can't even just have it all in my head, but I have to go on and read a few out. They are going to
go ahead.
Something, for example, like cashew development code, establish cashew development board to coordinate cashew related issues to speed up growth and confidence.
And that's one commodity that if Ghana concentrates on that a lot, we're going to make a lot of money.
Great.
Because you go to Tesco or Lidl and just a small bag of cashew About £3.
You know, this is what we say, that somebody is pounding the fufu and you are drinking the soup. I haven't even finished yet.
Yeah.
You know, there is so much that has been identified. Second, doubling the value of domestic and intra-regional and global export demand in agricultural services, commodities, and manufactured products.
Excellent.
So it means also that we are not just going to sit there and say, oh, we have had enough, we have eaten. So no, we are going to process it. I call it value-added products. That they will go out there, not in their raw state, but processed and up to the international standard. So this is one of the reduction of cost of capital in agriculture, agricultural investment using creative programs. You know, so let's say that if an individual have a land and he wants to go and plow, because he's alone and you have to go and rent a tractor from somewhere, for example, it costs so much. But if you put yourself together in a creative way, forming a cooperative farmers group, for example, you can get a tractor that will come in, or maybe even ask the government for a loan that will buy the tractor for you as a group, and you can use it, you know, and clear a bigger land and produce more, which means that the government would even make more money, because what the government is interested in is the product,
yes,
or the farm produce, which needs to be done. And individuals also need help, because people go and borrow money to even go and work on the land. Today, if a government is helping me, clearing a land, giving me a portion for me to work on it, why not? It's another creative way of empowering individuals. That means that people who go into agro businesses can see the profit, and they will be able to change their lives. And guess what? It's just dawned on me that this same agro business is going to stop rural-urban migration.
Yeah.
Which our young women and a whole lot of people running to the city due to poverty and hardship in their local areas.
Yes.
When you have a good business, when you have a great thing doing, when you have a good life in your area, why would you leave? It
enhances
and then again,
social mobility.
It doesn't have to be in the city.
Yeah.
Whilst it's in the village, you can have something I call pent up frustration. When you get to some type of age, everybody thinks that you are old enough and you should be looking after yourself.
And you're not able to do certain things for yourself.
Exactly. You have the energy. And you know, at the age of 18, that is where there's a lot of energetic young men.
Yes.
So if they don't have anything to put the energy in, that's when they turn on to do other things. But if a government has supported you
between
to
18
give you
and 20,
a land,
around 25,
and you are working on, and you are making money, your energy is on the farm, not on fighting. You see? So it's going to solve a lot of core social issues. And then also parents who can feed their children. It stops malnutrition.
Yeah.
And also, it helps us to cut down our health problems. Because if you don't get good food and you are you have nutritional problems, you will fall ill. You will need a hospital. But then if you have a good job or a good money coming in, feeding your children, okay, you don't need, it's hardly for you to get ill.
Yeah.
You know? And then also, we will be able to support our own children and pay their own school fees, or even send them to a higher level because there is income coming in. You see? So, the other thing, there's a support production of agro-processing for food. Restructure rural credit and Ghana Exim Bank to improve credit to strategic agriculture, agribusinesses, activities and related infrastructure. And then I'm jumping because there's so much.
Yes, go ahead.
I need to jump.
You know, rehabilitation and modernizing transport system in agricultural commodity producing areas to make produce transportable. And this is also one of the magic. It is not just going to be just agriculture. It is also improving our infrastructure.
Yeah.
because good road network means that everybody
and we will come down to the cocoa roads.
Everybody can set up a business, because one of the biggest problems for investors is that sometimes transporting their items or their end produce from
the feeder roads,
from the village to town is a problem. So all the factories are being set up in the city, because that is where the farmer will struggle and bring the little they can. But when there is a good road and the produce are produced right in their thematic areas, an area where it is produced, so it is a business for, by, and about the people.
Yeah.
So this is a great thing. And then we move on. Look, free primary health care for all cocoa farmers. Okay? Exempt all cocoa farmers from NHIS premium payment for secondary and tertiary care.
Fantastic.
Creation of database for all cocoa farmers and make available at all cocoa clinics easier to access their various cocoa growing areas. Extension of cocoa roads to other cocoa growing areas. Establish of pension scheme. Boom, that is the word. Pension scheme for our farmers.
Yeah.
For the first time, you know, when we discussed about what our farmers deserve, if a teacher goes to teach and at the end of the year or at the end of his service, he gets a pension. What about our cocoa farmer? I am even thinking that I know that as NDC, as usual, we want to start baby step and do it right. So I am sure and I believe that if we hold agriculture so strong, very soon, even our farmers should be having pension. Because after serving the country for so many years, you don't want to see a farmer who grows old and doesn't even have a place to put their head. And that is why people think that agriculture is for losers. But no. Agric is great. As we live in this country, we know most millionaires are into agriculture and agri-business. So I will pause here and not like overly get too excited, because you know what,
there's so much in there that you can get excited
so
and just
much,
go on and
and
on.
Thanks to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC for just looking beyond just a white collar job, but thinking more about our people, the foundation of our nation, which is agriculture.
Thank you
Mike,
so
let
much.
me tell you, asked about the fishing sector.
Yes.
Of course, that's another area that contributes a lot to our nutritional needs and for income for fishermen.
Yes.
We all know this government has messed up the pre-mixed
Fuel issue, yes.
We are going to hand it over to the local fishermen. They will have their
That's it.
to manage it. There's going to be cold stores around the fish communities to help them preserve their products while they are looking for market for them. There's going to be institute set up. We started it. It will be attached to the University of Cape Coast to see how they can improve fishing practices in Ghana. So if we are able to revamp that area, add value to our fish, it will be another opportunity to export it to other parts of the world. And that will increase our foreign earning, which will be extended to other sectors of the economy. So it's another comprehensive policy that the fishermen will buy into, and inshallah when your mama comes back 7th January, all these things will be rolled, and then we'll continue to move the country.
And one of the key things too that I observed from one of the programs that the next NDC administration seeks to roll out has to do with how the next NDC government is going to make sure or sort of incentivize the financial sector to be able to widen the scope of granting credits to people in agribusiness. And I think it's a very fantastic
idea.
thing. What do you think?
There is a good idea because, I mean, we have the traditional farmers. They will be encouraged. We already have cooperative societies that will be strengthened.
Yes.
The banks will be helped. Park Osindim Bank
Yes.
Which was all over the country.
Exactly, yes.
Incorporated some kind of savings
Yes.
into the local farmers. Because instead of putting the money in under their pillows, they were saving in these rural banks. They could easily go for loans to expand their business.
Yes. That was a certain kind of elevation of the system.
And the way this current President Akufo-Addo has handled the financial crisis led to the collapse of all these banks.
Yes.
So the local farmer in the village now has no access to credit to undertake his project. NDC will look into making sure that rural banking will be extended to every part of the country, and then the farmers and fishermen can continue to benefit from it. Look, Adamu touched on the cocoa sector. I'll just add, there is going to be construction of health posts or hospitals in the cocoa growing areas. There's going to be university for cocoa, so that colleges, so that the cocoa farmers, not just extended officers going to learn, but they will be encouraged to acquire some basic knowledge on how to. The free fertilizer that was introduced, free insecticides, and then free implement and high yield seedlings will be reintroduced under the next government of President.
Yeah, because when the Akufo-Addo government came, they started selling the fertilizer.
The fertilizer.
Yes.
And you see,
be
the increase in the cocoa production, which they are now claiming credit, is due to whatever investment your mama government provided to the sector.
Absolutely.
So they did nothing. So what we are saying, when we come, all what we were doing, and that is why it's evidence-based. Because this, if we say we are going to provide free fertilizer to farmers and insecticide to farmers, Ghana shouldn't be doubting. Because when we were in government, we provided it. We set up the cocoa rows project to make sure that we open the cocoa growing areas. They came and they stopped it, and they have refused to even pay the contractors that executed the job. So because of that, the whole thing came to standstill. John Mahama and the People Manifesto is promising that when he's elected, all those cocoa areas contractors who have not, they are still waiting for their certificate to be honored. He will make sure that they will be paid, and then other roads that were abandoned by President Akufo-Addo-led government will be awarded to contractors. If they are still around, they will be allowed to execute it and help to open up the cocoa growing areas. So there's a very comprehensive policy across the agricultural sector, and we'll touch on livestock if time will permit.
Well, just before he goes, can I quickly go to the fishing? Because when he mentioned, I have to let our people back there to know what is going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Support the youth training in cage construction so that they can even do aquaculture, like doing it on your own, fish farming.
And honey.
Wait, this is only for the fish.
For the fish, okay.
It's so exciting. It's only for the fish. Look, he said, support the production of fingerlings. Train the youth in the construction of ponds for fish farming. Establish a modern fish market and cold stores along the major fish landing sites, such as Tema, Newtown, Cape Coast, Shame, Sogakopa, Yeji, Bando Toko, Biriwa, Asisiwa, Discove, Bong, and equip them with smoking and processing facilities. Okay, and that doesn't even end in the day. Technology has just appeared in there. That says that provide eco sounders and GPS to farmers. That is fishermen facilitate the use of technology, implement the fish health policy, and review the close season for trawlers. So what is happening is that instead of everybody just jumping in and catching any fish at all, they are going to be producing their own fingerlings. They are going to raise their own fish. They will be taught how to. And then also, when they have to go fishing, they have to use the modern way, so that instead of a fisherman going to sit on the sea for about 3 weeks and come with nothing, when there is a GPS system, you'll be able to locate exactly where you are and where there is a possibility of catching something. So, which means that our farmers are going even high tech.
Yeah.
And then after they come, and that is where I am really excited. You see, anything that you don't add value, you end up losing.
Exactly.
Okay, our farmers, sometimes the farmers don't make much money. That is the fishermen. They go, and then the woman from Accra comes and buy everything very cheap and go and make all the money. Today, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and NDC says, we are going to produce cold stores, so the fish will not rot if you don't buy. We are going to produce a smoking area. The fish will not rot if you don't buy. We will do it properly. Look, if we go to Edmonton Market today in London here, small akpavi fish is so expensive.
Yeah.
So if we can process it, get to the level that the European Union and other developed countries will be happy to buy it, it is even doubling the value of the fish, which improves vastly the lifestyle of the farmer.
Of course,
so it is the farmer that is the target, that it will then go around and raise our lifestyle and even possibly raise our life expectancy. Because when you have money, you have everything.
In the cocoa growing area, we are going to encourage them to diversify. We are not saying they should abandon cocoa production. That's their main. But there is going to be incentives for them to go into bee keeping to produce honey, poultry farm, things like that at the local level, depending on which area they are living. That will be an additional income to their cocoa. And then there will be annual increase in the price of cocoa. So that will motivate people to go into it. And women who most often than not are not allowed to own land, cocoa farms, we are going to encourage them to own. So there will be an award for best woman cocoa farmer, just to encourage more women to go into it. So how the girl child will go into it. And as Adamo said, after the universal free primary health care is going to be universal for every Ghanaian. So of course we have mentioned it, the cocoa farmers will benefit. But they, in addition to that, because under the primary health care, the national health insurance will only kick in if you are going for secondary and tertiary treatment. In order to motivate cocoa farmers, they will start even drawing their pension. They will be given that privilege to have free secondary and tertiary health treatment at our district and regional hospitals.
Fantastic.
So it's morale boosting.
Exactly.
And as you said,
news.
as time goes on, we may even consider rolling out to other Ghanaians. But first thing first, of course, even in this country, when we don't pay for the national insurance, it depends on your contribution to the national health, national insurance contribution. Everybody is entitled to it. So the thinking is that these farmers, through their suffering, they are producing, we are exporting, why can't we encourage them to get certain things free? And then we expect them to still go in what? Pay when they are sick.
A healthy farmer, actually, a healthy farmer is a healthy grower.
No, healthy people economy, healthy population produce what? Healthy economy.
Exactly.
So we need to make sure that the health needs of our people.
Exactly. It's amazing.
So
it's a
gentlemen, before we go on to Dr. Alessani to come in to give us his views and his comments on the NDC promises going into this 7 December 2020 elections, and then what the next NDC government will be doing come the 7th of January when our flag bearer and the next president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will be sworn in. I would want us to touch a bit on cocoa roads and feeder roads, because for me, I believe that they're very, very important and key to the development of agriculture in total or in general for Ghana. So if we can, I'll first start with you, and then I'll go to Adam, and then we can bring Dr. Alessani in.
Yeah, I mean, what is the use of cocoa if they are lying on the farms and you can transport it to the harbors for export or for processing? So that was why when we came, not just the cocoa produce, but to open up the cocoa growing areas. So that if foreign investors want to set up cocoa processing factories, they won't be scared. They know if they can easily travel there, and even if they process the cocoa, it can easily be taken to the ports. So we came out with this innovative thinking outside the box,
yes,
to invest in road construction and feeder roads, linking our cocoa growing area, which are mainly what? Rural areas.
Absolutely.
And John Mahama did a fantastic job by starting the project. They came and they claimed the contracts were overvalued. Up to now, we are following them to give us the audit report. You see, they are now auditors. I mean, they just make some allegations. So, and then those who started constructing, as I said earlier on, they stopped those works. And those who have even finished construction, they claim because they are aligned to NDC or they got their contract through when NDC was in government, they are not going to honor their certificates.
Yeah, so they actually put us here.
Yeah, so it's something that we have done before. So it's something that we can easily restart when we are given the opportunity. So as I said, open up, and all this is going to be linked to the backward push.
Obviously.
So the big push is multi-sectoral development of our economy.
Yes.
So if they ask, where are you going to get money? Of course, we are going to use the big push. That's the engine of growth.
Yeah.
And yes, there's going to be private-public partnership. We are going to release, manage the waste in the system, make sure that we increase revenue generation so that we can undertake this project. Of course, we are not going to lie to Ghanaians that we are not going to borrow. Even the most advanced countries still go to the IMF and World Bank for loans. Yes, we will borrow, but some of them will not just be adding something to the public debt. Look, if you take the example of Kotoka Terminal 3, that work that was carried out did not even add 1 peso to the public debt. Yeah. They use, because it's a limited company, they use their balance sheet to contract the loans. So they will work and pay. It's not good. So when we say we are going to do all these things and
use very innovative
ways, so without necessarily increasing the public debt, so it will cast across, and the feeder roads, especially linking the cocoa growing areas, the railway sector will be redeveloped. We don't necessarily need to appoint a minister for railway development. It's only Ghana. You have a full sector minister for railway development.
Yes.
With 2 deputies, or is it 3 deputies?
Yes.
They have not even added 1 mile of rail. And they are in office, drawing their salaries and allowances with their VAs driving all around. So all these things will be changed of the past. Railway is important, but we think, as John Mahama said in his talk, we are going to reduce the number of ministries. Why can't you add it to the Ministry of Roads and Highways or Railways, or maybe put it under transport?
Yes.
So all these sectors will be realigned, so that we'll make sure that there's holistic approach. Because sometimes when you have so many ministries, you don't know who is doing what, and then you end up by not achieving anything. So feeder roads to the cocoa growing areas will be given the needed attention come January 8th, 2021.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alhaji Alassane Baba. And I'll come to you, Musa Adamu, for you to give us a bit of insight into what you think, for instance, the NDC, because we believe that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama understands the essence of agriculture and how agric needs to be developed in Ghana for us to get the best out of it as a country. Now, for instance, we know that his government, the ex-John Mahama government, was had about 200 road contracts, cocoa road contracts in place, some of which 70% were already done. And when the MPP government came, what did they do? They stopped everything with the reason that they're auditing.
And they are still auditing.
Up till now, that audit report has not been made public. So one would ask, what is going on? So, Mr. Adamu Musa, can you share your views on that for us? And then we will go to Dr. Alassane.
Thank you so much. You know, it's something that we all have to look at. Even before we left office, NDC is not used to sloganeering.
Yes.
NDC is used to action. Delivering on the ground. And if you watch carefully, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC administration, coming from our former president, may he so rest in peace,
Professor John Atta Mills.
NDC has always thought about the people.
Yes.
But then when you come to some areas, you realize that he checked road, not just road, he checked air.
Yes.
That's why he built Ho Airport.
Yes.
And people were asking questions. How many people fly to Ho? It is very quick. Look, the man has seen the future and he is trying to make it easy and accessible.
It's a visionary.
As possible.
That's what it is.
Okay, so that is why he decided that, look, very soon agriculture is going to be massive.
Yes.
So we need to take out all the produce as efficient and as quick as possible. 2, this manifesto on the agri sector, there are going to be, as I said, the value added part, so that there will be factories, mini equipment that can add value from maybe 1 to about stage 3 of the product. So by the time it leaves the village already, it is going to be something that can be doubling or even trebling the value of the item. You know? So we all have to understand that this road was very necessary. The road network was really, really necessary. And it's unfortunate that this government came in and decided that they were going to cut all the contracts. Okay, but as much as I would like to delve into it, I'm sure Alhaji did a good job telling people about what the road network and things we're going to do. But before we go away, let me add something small on the poultry areas so that there will be a win-win situation. Watch this. The poultry farmers, this is a package for them, address the huge gap between nation poultry meat consumption and supply. 2, involve the youth in small to medium scale poultry production. Develop cluster of standard housing that can hold a minimum of 50 birds at a time. Establish processing plants to serve cluster of small poultry farms to process and package dressed birds and eggs for the market. Revamp the Ghana broiler revitalization program to local produce and process 2 million birds annually. Can you imagine that? 2 million birds.
Fantastic.
The money that
Thank you
will
so
come
much,
into the economy.
Mr. Adamu Musa, for that insight. And I'm just so excited. So at this juncture, we're going to go to Dr. Aaron Alessani. Dr. Aaron Alessani has a PhD in finance, livelihoods and inequality. He has PG certificates in both leadership and project management. And he is going to give us his expert views on the subjects that we are talking about right now, the programs in the agri sector that the next NDC government is rolling out. And I'm already very, very excited. And as I can see, the two gentlemen with me here as well, Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba and Musa Adamu, have spoken a lot about the issues. So, hello, Dr. Alhassani. Hello, Dr. Alhassani.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm sure you have been listening to the excellent discussions going on in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will just go straight to the point. Now, and I'm sure you did watch or listen to last night's press conference, which was organized by the NDC UK and Ireland chapter, and for which our communication officer, Mr. Simon Awarigo, delivered the speech. Can you give us your view, your general views on the security situation in our country, Ghana, at the moment, and then we can go into the vexed matters with regards to the manifesto?
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. In fact, before I continue, let me thank your viewers, greet your viewers and the people in the studio. Let me also quickly correct this. It is not PhD in finance level. It's PhD in international development. But
I apologize. So PhD in international development
and inequality.
Okay, I apologize.
Yes. That's all right. I understand. So it's an interesting discussion, and I have followed every bit of it. And like you said, I'm just going to offer some expert views on some of the issues that have been discussed so far. When you take the comprehensive African agriculture development policy, and you take within the new partnership for agriculture development, you look at it and you realize that there are certain key things that African government, not just Ghana, need to look at to develop their agriculture to be able to harness it for economic growth and development. If you talk of economic growth, you are just talking of GDP figures. But how does it make the average Ghanaian life meaningful, worth living? How does it reduce poverty? How is it distributed? That is what we talk of development. So it is not just to use agriculture for economic growth, but to distribute it to reduce poverty across the country. And when you look at it, the comprehensive, the Africa Free Continental Free Trade Agreement, the AFCFTA, as well as the ECOWAS sub-region, provides excellent opportunities for us to develop our agricultural and our agribusiness subsectors. And I like the NDC's manifesto because it looks at the issues comprehensively, and it gives specific locations as to what will be done and what can be done. And when you look at it, it gives hope, I must be honest and frank. So that's, having said that, you look at most of Africa's, if you look at the contribution of the agricultural sector to GDP in general, you take Ghana and other African countries, our agriculture contribution to GDP is very high when you compare it to other regions. And that tells you that our economies are not diversified enough to be able to do a lot of things. But that is the key area that can be used to reduce poverty and achieve most of the sustainable development goals. And that is why, given the agricultural sector and agribusiness, the needed impetus will be very critical to the many problems we are currently facing in the country. You take population growth. We are almost 32 million. When you look at it, we are almost 32 million. These people need to be fed. Fortunately, we have vast resources in terms of agriculture resources. Take the fisheries, take arable land, take the cocoa sector, take a lot of other sectors, the livestock. And there are opportunities, vast opportunities that we can harness to help our country. Urbanization, we are growing very fast. About 56.7% of the Ghanaian population, which approximately 80 million people living in urban centers. All these people need to be fed. And it provides an excellent opportunity to develop the agricultural sector. And you talk about the rural areas. The livelihoods are being diversified. You have so many people being employed in non-farm agri sectors than the agri sector. And that is where the agribusiness is key in this context. You look at the growing middle class. Times are changing. So a lot of people, the middle class, who live in the urban areas, are dependent on imported food. Provide an excellent market for imported rice, imported that, and we're using foreign exchange. to do some of these things. At the end of the day, we are crying. Our city is the value is falling. Why won't it fall? Look at it. Rice. We import over $1 billion worth of rice into the country in a few years ago. Compare that with cocoa. In other words, we are just exchanging our cocoa, what we get from cocoa, and using it to import rice. When we have land to produce and even export to the sub-region, now we have the African continental free trade area.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. And there are other opportunities. Look at Brexit. I understand some universities are already liaising up with universities in the UK, are already liaising up with some universities in Ghana to see how they can explore and find out some of the agricultural commodities that they can support to produce and import into the UK. These are opportunities that we can take into consideration. And the People's Manifesto is so comprehensive. When you look at it, from fisheries, from infrastructure, from livestock, and all of it is so comprehensive. That is what we need to do to develop this country. This is what we need to do, because if country that cannot feed itself, Thomas Sankara said it in the 80s, if you cannot feed yourself, you are virtually a beggar. And that is what we virtually are. And then, sorry, you look at the fisheries subsector, a lot of opportunities. Climate change is causing a lot of problems. We are not able to manage our feedstocks. So if we are able to do more, captured in that People's Manifesto, if John Mahama should win and we get that manifesto concerning agriculture implemented, it is going to do a lot. But that doesn't mean that nothing is being done in the current situation. But is it optimal? And I'll tell you it is not. We can do more.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alessandro, for those expert comments. But let me ask you this question. For instance, you spoke about the fact that there's some kind of over-reliance on agriculture within the region, which means that we haven't diversified our economy well enough. However, I'm sure you still do agree with me that we still have not been able to put enough investment into the agric sector and develop it to the point where we will reap the maximum benefit. For instance, we know that the erstwhile John Mahama government did invest a lot in the agric sector, and if you look at the manifesto promises that that has been rolled out right now, which obviously speaks volumes about what the next NDC government will be doing. Which areas do you think that are going to, when implemented, are going to help in are going to enhance social mobility to a very large degree? Because we know that, for instance, if let's say the children of farmers who naturally become farmers, especially in the rural areas, don't have the right incentives to be able to advance further from where their parents left off, then it means that there is going to always be that vicious cycle of poverty. Can you give us your take on that?
Yes, like I said earlier, agriculture is one of the key areas that can be used to reduce poverty and achieve most of the sustainable development goals. When you take the cocoa sector, for example, you realize that the discontinuation of those rose projects, cocoa rose projects. I was watching another program, and the MPP was saying they did not stop the feeder rows, they did not stop what, and I was like, so what have they stopped? Look, the roads, those roads that are stopped is a big disservice to the country. There was more politics in it than looking at the reality of our situation.
Yes.
When you look at it, growth does not, they do not only convey cocoa. You go, I have worked with cocoa farmers, and I can tell you, look, they will tell you they make more money in some of the agricultural activities they do than even the cocoa. This is a fact. So if those roles were working, and their children are able to attend school, they are able to convey some of their other farm products to the markets, that is going a long way to reduce poverty. They'll be able to pay their children's school fees. That's free SS. Some of them have their children in the university. And you look at the scholarship schemes. All those things need to be streamlined so that the right people get the scholarships. You go there, and most of the farmers there are not the real owners of the farms. They are people who travel in from elsewhere, and they are there laboring with their children. The vicious have to continue, and then when these scholarships and other things come in, there is what we call elite capture.
Yeah, and that is where that is where the cocoa farmers pension scheme also comes in, which Adamo also mentioned. So so you can continue, Dr.
Talk about the exempting them from the NHS premium payment, even including the secondary and tertiary. They are all, in fact, the People's Manifesto, it reflects the reality, because it is taken from the people, those who live and have experiences.
Yeah. Are you there, Doctor?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah. So the People's Manifesto also states that the next NDC government will be incentivizing the financial sector. So the financial sector will be motivated to sort of widen the scope of giving out credit to people or citizens in agribusiness. What's your take on that?
Yes, the financial sector have gone through a lot of turmoil, and like I said, it was one of my area I did for my research. And honestly, I must be frank here. The implementation of the financial sector cleanup was not done optimally. It was suboptimal. And the politics in it was more than what it is supposed to have done in the interest of everybody in the country. I'm just being frank with you.
Yes.
So there are a lot of issues in the financial sector, even now. And I was not surprised when Kwame Pianim came out boldly and said, look, it is like stealing from the people. If it is anything, print money. And so at the end of the day, he was vindicated, because liquidity became an issue. There is no country where the financial sector, you say all banks should have the same capital adequacy requirements. It's not done anywhere. There are tiers. So if when you look at the manifesto, the People's Manifesto, and you see what the NDC, the steps they took to be able to handle the crisis in the sector, and the way it was handled, there's a big variance, and it has done more harm than good. I'm just being frank with you.
Yes.
It has done more harm than good.
Which is why I'm so excited. Yeah, which is why I'm so excited about what the next NDC government is going to do. And just coming back to the cocoa roads, for instance, I think one major contribution that obviously does in enhancing the development of agriculture is that cocoa farmers in those areas, in the cocoa growing areas, for instance, they don't only grow, most of them, or quite a good number of them, don't grow cocoa only. Some of them, quite a good number of them tend to grow perishable goods like crops like tomatoes, okra, garden eggs, and cassava, plantain, and the rest of them. So if they don't have a very good means of transporting these items to the market centers, what then happens? I mean, within a day or two, a lot of those farm produce, they go bad, and then it comes back to the point where the farmers tend to lose from that. So then it becomes a very bad disincentive for them. So it is very good that, for me, I think that this is one of the most exciting things that I see in the next government objectives of developing the agri sector per se. What's your view on that?
Yeah, there are a lot of research about the contribution of a road. If you have a road that links up people, its impact on poverty is so great. In fact, if you rank all interventions, I think it's one of the top tier intervention that reduces poverty. Having a road into areas that are unreachable. So, like I said earlier, those roads will need to be carried out. They need to go back to the drawing boards and let the people finish those roads.
Absolutely.
And then even do more in other areas that need. If we go to the western north, there are a lot of need, especially in the cocoa growing areas. Like I said, and you rightly repeated, the roads do not only serve to carry cocoa.
Yeah.
It helps to reduce poverty. And I have worked with some of the cocoa farmers, and they will tell you they make more money from garden egg cultivation.
Yes.
And like I said earlier also, most of them don't own the farms.
Yeah.
Those people who are in the villages, they're laboring and farming, they don't own the farms. The farmers are in Kumasi town and Accra. So they have to wait, harvest, and then they do what we call sharecropping. So before the sharecropping, between that period, what happens? They have to depend on the garden eggs. They have to depend on the tomatoes.
Cash crops.
They have to depend on some of those crops, food crops. And now they harvest, they can't carry the food to the market centers. You are increasing their poverty levels. You are increasing their distress. And at the end of the day, the cocoa farms even suffer. Because if the farmer is not healthy, if the farmer cannot feed himself, he won't go to the farm. Because the cocoa farm, you can't directly eat it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Aaron Alessani. I think my initial comments or question when you first came on was I was asking your views on the security situation in Ghana as you see it. I'm sure you would have watched or listened to the NDC UK and Ireland chapter's press conference yesterday, when it was touched on at length. Your final comments on that, and then we will let you go, sir.
Yes, I wanted to avoid it, but once you repeated it,
so I've cut you to it.
Honestly, looking at the what is happening in the West African sub-region,
yes,
it is like the government is joking with our security in the country. I'm just being frank.
Yeah.
Because when you look at what is happening in our neighboring countries, Ivory Coast, take Burkina Faso, and other countries, Mali, Niger, and the arms that comes in, and these informations are in the public domain. They are with the security agencies, and we allow these things to happen. And I don't see the sense of urgency. And if we joke, and then there is infiltration from these countries to join these groups, or even use what is happening to come in and create cells, we will suffer as a country. That is not what anybody would want. That is not what Akufo-Addo wants for this country. We have enjoyed peace. We have not, in fact, we have not seen war. Most of us have not seen war. how it looks like. We have not seen, so we are joking with it. Go to Nigeria, our neighboring country. We do not want what is happening in Nigeria to be replicated in our country. And I think the government must sit up before it gets out of hand.
Thank you so much.
Ghanaians are watching.
It's out of hand already.
Yeah.
And I know they will do something about it.
We need divine intervention and James to address the issues.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aaron Alessani. Dr. Aaron Alessani is a PhD holder in international development, and he has in finance, livelihoods, and inequality. He has PG certificates in leadership and project management. Thank you so much for joining this discussion, and we value your expert contributions and your comments and ideas as well. Thank you so much, and we will let you go at this time, and discussion will continue in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
So viewers, we have just listened to Dr. Alessani, who came to join the discussion with some expert comments and opinions with regards to the NDC People's Manifesto. That's the part that covers the programs that the next NDC government is going to carry out or roll out once our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is sworn in January 2021. So if you just join us, this is the UK and Ireland chapter's version of discussions on the People's Manifesto. This is the 3rd edition, and it is time with UK and Ireland chapter. With me here in the studio again is Mr. Adamu Musa, the NDC UK and Ireland chapter organizer, and to my right is Mr. Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba, the chairman of the NDC UK and Ireland chapter. So we will just quickly wrap up, and then we will go. So I'll go first to Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba. We have listened to some expert comments on the agri sector, or the programs in the agri sector that the next NDC government will be rolling out. What first of all, 1 minute, your views on the areas that he touched on, and then if you can then give us a summary of everything that we have talked about here.
Yeah, he's touched on the African continental free trade area, and the ECOWAS free trade is key. Because if you look at the People's Manifesto, we are talking about agri business. We can't expand the agriculture sector without market for the agricultural produce. So our approach is going to be holistic. We are going to have industrial zones, depending on which agri produces come from which area. A factory or a processing plant will be set up there.
Yes.
And then they'll process it, and then for domestic and external consumption. That means for export.
Yes.
And how are we going to achieve that? We are going to improve the education project. The Education or Development Authority, there's an authority responsible for that, will be taxed to to look at the needs of the farmers in terms of construction. We are not going to set up a special initiative ministry like
Yes.
we have under John Akufo-Addo's government.
Yes.
And what is her name? Howard Kumse she's going around just commissioning projects, boreholes or this dark house, which they are referring to as what? Dams.
Dams, yeah.
So that is going to be our approach, and we can only do this by increasing the national budgetary allocation to the sector. We are going to
Exactly.
increase it at least 10%. Initially, they said at least 10%. So
Yeah.
depending on how we can juggle things, we may even increase it to 20%. And then the youth in agriculture will be encouraged because they're under the TVET. People, the youngsters without job opportunities will be encouraged to embrace agri. Women will be encouraged. The cocoa farmers will be given incentives to continue to contribute their quota to the gross domestic product of Ghana. So, listeners in the UK and Ghana, all over the world, NDC has got the most comprehensive agricultural policy in the history of Ghana. It is bottom-up approach. It was through consultations that we came out with this policy initiative. And when we are elected into government, we are going to still engage with the stakeholders to see how we can implement these policies to improve the lot of Ghanaians. So it's not like sitting in Accra or pay as you go or the half-baked policies making, which Nana told to Ghanaians in 2016. Because if you listen to their major policy for the agri sector was the one dam, one district. Agriculturalists, scientists, and geographers will tell you it's not every land that is suitable for construction of a dam. You need to consider the topography of the land before even promising to construct a dam.
Yes.
And when they were promising one dam, one district, that time they didn't even know the number of villages we have in Ghana.
Yeah.
They didn't even know whether all the lands in Ghana were suitable for construction of that house. So they should have carried out a feasibility studies, which they haven't done. So we are not going to be doing half-baked policies. The Education Development Authority will be given the national mandate to carry out feasibility studies to expand the existing dams for irrigation and then to make recommendation for construction of what? New irrigation dams across the country. So by doing so, the farmers will be guaranteed all year what? Farming. Instead of what we have now, where dams were constructed only for them to be washed out away by rains, others got dry up by harmattan. So what kind of dams are we constructing? And if you look at the amount of money that they claim they are spending to construct these dams, they are clearly causing financial loss to the state. And when we take over, all those projects will be reviewed, and those who have contributed to causing the financial loss to the state will be brought to book.
Fantastic.
So vote wisely come December 7th, so that President John Mahama will be returned to the Jubilee House to continue with his unfinished job.
Thank you so much, Alhaji Alasan Baba, Chairman of the NDC UK and Ireland chapter. Mr. Musa Adamu, we have not had the chance to dwell much on the environment, science, technology, and innovation that we sought to discuss as well tonight. But I'm sure you have a bit of light to throw on. You would like to throw a bit of light on that, and then we will proceed and summarize tonight's discussion, and then we will go.
Thank you very much, Mike. You know, in every big soup and a very wonderful soup, there's always a lot to talk about. And talking about this manifesto, you know, just on agriculture, we are almost exhausted all the time that we have. And we have to look critically and look at land. You know, when we talk about agriculture, we can't have agriculture without land. We can also have land without a good environment. So all these things come together. So I'm going to quickly rush through to talk more about land issues in Ghana and policies specific that is going with these agricultural policies. So I'll go through very quickly.
Maybe 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go through and this is some of these. He said, review the principle underlying land administrative project in collaboration with our development partners and restructure it more responsible to national needs. Examine the land administration system and develop comprehensive policy to make land acquisition simple, less cumbersome, investor friendly, and affordable to average Ghanaian. Decentralize land management services as required by Land Commission and Act. Develop a land for wealth policy for youth and vulnerable group and make land cheap, accessible for their economic activity, wealth creation. Invest in acquisition of land in various parts of the country and so on. And then we move on, that is to forestry. We look at reduce the rate of deforestation and forest degradation, create and maintain healthy and resilient forests to support the habitat for wildlife, carbon.
That is very key in the advent of these issues we are having with galamsey.
Yeah.
Good,
So
and that is where I'm coming on that as well. Increased participation of private sector, civil society, land communities, and individual in reforestation. Employ new technology to convert small diameter trees, mainly from plantation, into new products. So then there is a whole lot of things that is happening on the land. And let's not forget, when we talk about land and natural resources, we know that apart from agriculture, there are things that are underneath, which mainly in Ghana, we are blessed with gold, diamond, and the rest. And you know that when this administration came into effect, they came around and said that they were going to fight galamsey and fight all kind of people who are into mining. Even those who have licenses were stopped from working. The equipment were seized, where over 500 equipment of earth-moving equipment disappeared into thin air.
Yes.
And this is what the promise to those out there who does galamsey. Please, just listen to this very carefully, and it's really important. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC administration have come very, very clear. They said, first of all, they are going to look at a sustainable way of mining, creating a fund, and which I will have to creating a ministry that will look after the mines, where all these gold and other things that has been mined will be looked at very carefully. They will have a board that will manage it and also add value to it. So it will be there will be a refinery that will be set up in areas, and that means also that anybody that this current administration forcibly took your land and did not compensate you for it, and took it in a bad way, handing it over to their own people to work, and left certain people go hungry and jobless. NDC government has come very clearly, and it is in the manifesto, it will be taken back and handed over to the rightful owners.
Yeah.
So great news for galamseyers. Also, it's not just like going anyhow and just taking things.
So excavators will not be flying?
No, excavators are not going to fly. Excavators are going to be there. And it, in fact, those excavators, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has promised that he's going to chase and investigate every single excavator that was wrongfully taken will be retrieved and given back to the owner, which is very fair. It was stolen from them, and it will be handed over to the rightful owners. Not just that. No, John Dramani Mahama and NDC are not just saying that we are galamseyers. No, we said a sustainable way of doing it. They will be trained. there will be licenses, they will be doing it in the right way that is environmentally friendly. And also, apart from that, the land has to be reclaimed.
Of course.
And plants will be grown on there for the future use. So this is a great news, an amazing news for our miners and environment. But there is something that I wanted to mention very quickly, and these are the promises on the Galamsey area, because I want to read it verbatim so that it doesn't become like Musa Adamu is making it up. This is a great news for our people, and that is: partner with mining equipment owners to support small-scale miners due to equipment challenges to the small-scale mining sector. Establish mini processing plants in strategic mining locations to support and improve metallurgical recovery of mined ore, leading to increased revenue generation. Take stock of existing large-scale mining concessions to make abundant lands available for small and medium-scale mining operations. Promote legal and properly regulated and operated medium and small-scale mining to become attractive and well-paid business ventures, creating jobs for the youth. Reissue confiscated legitimate mining licenses to miners. Return seized legitimate concessions to their owners. Promote environmentally friendly small-scale and community mining operations. Ensure that licensed small-scale mining companies operate strictly in accordance with improved operational procedures to minimize negative environmental impact. Encourage chiefs in mining areas to take an interest in community mining processes to ensure that environment is preserved and local communities benefit from the revenue. Link royalty payment to targeted community developmental projects to address the increasing demand by host communities. Review the structure of mineral development fund to ensure that mining communities benefit from social responsibilities and practices, and engage trained earth science graduates, including mining engineers, geological engineers, geomatic engineers, metallurgical engineers, and environmental engineers. Ensure restoration of water bodies and the reclamation of land. So basically, look, even here alone, did you hear the logical people? All these people are humans, and there are jobs that are going to be created.
Absolutely.
And it is not a job that is going to be a crime. Because I know certain people within this government stood in parliament and said that people who were mining should be shot as if they were armed robbers. This cannot be done to Ghanaians. It can never be entertained. It is our natural resources, and NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama administration think about every single person, from the biggest to the last person. We don't believe that certain people must eat and other people should go hungry. We believe that every single person matters and every sector is really important. So thank you to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC administration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa Adamu. Alhaji Alassane Mbaba, can we have your final comments?
Yeah,
as well?
I think before I was saying it, the land tenure system,
Yes.
the land commission will be mandated to review the laws governing the registration of land in our country,
Yes.
to make sure that it is easily accessible for residential, for commercial and farming purposes. We all know it's long overdue. You can't buy a property or land in this country without going through a lawyer to make sure that everything is okay. The amount of land litigation cases is retarding our progress as a country. So the next NDC government will have an overhaul view of the land ownership and land tenureship system in Ghana to make it a more manageable. So once again, I would like to appeal to Ghanaians across the globe to call their families and friends in Ghana to make sure that they will vote and vote wisely on December 7th, which is voting massively for President John Mahama and NDC parliamentary candidates. I know it's difficult because most Ghanaians living outside the country have not been able to go home to register because of the COVID and other things. But because we are here, we are in touch with our families and friends, a phone call trying to tell them to vote for a government that will come and unite our country so that all the security threats that is facing will be the things of the past. There will be accelerated development, a prosperity for every Ghanaian. It's not for the few associated with the government. What is happening in Ghana now is not even MPP members, but if you are not a member of the president, then you'll be struggling. So the only way we can create equal opportunities for everybody is to vote the only social democrat in Ghana political dispensation, which is the National Democratic Congress. We have done it before and will continue to provide equal opportunities for every Ghanaian, regardless of your origin, your religion, and wherever you are coming from. Once again, thank you and good evening to you.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Alasan Baba, Chairman of NDC UK and Ireland Chapter, and Mr. Adamu Musa, Organizer, NDC UK and Ireland Chapter. Dr. Aaron Alasani, PhD in International Development, did join us by phone. So viewers, tonight we have come to the end of the third edition of Time with the UK and Ireland Chapter, where we seek to discuss the policies and interventions that the next NDC government seeks to roll out should we win power on December 7th, 2020. And listening to everything here, I don't see the reason why those of us in the diaspora and in Ghana and other parts of the globe, I don't see the reason why you would not accept the fact or admit the fact that the NDC has the best policy interventions when it comes to agriculture and other sectors, other areas that we have discussed here so far. So please, viewers, I implore you, if you don't have a vote, you are not registered to vote, especially if you are in the diaspora or you are back home in Ghana, please speak to someone, be it your brother, your sister, your uncle, your father, your mother, your cousin, your friend, to go to the polls early and vote for NDC, the NDC MP, and vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so that he will have the chance to form the next government. You have to vote for the NDC MP as well, because if we are not able to get the right majority in Parliament, these brilliant ideas and programs that you have heard about, that we have spoken about so far, obviously will not materialize. So thank you for joining us. And thank you to Omega TV as well for carrying this program live. Good night.
mitina mi huse kroma ye fepa. Kroma ye nice, sekra ye fine. Bibi sayana ye si mahamane ye waya dio. Koshe rigisu, koshe kotoka, sisi school wadai. Muma ye mpini ne waya dio. Ye bezu, mahama ye peza. Ye bezu, zu, ye peza. Mahama enkasa, frisa fedie, ye hu. Hey, yasiya sa fedie ne hu ye modu. Ye breo, na ye breo, na ye breo, na ye breo, ye brepa. Echo, kodo. Agbewae, Damu no wahi, factories no wahi, empty promises, and one yati, hey, Mahama bro, JM bro, wana bongo, Mahama bro, JM bro, ona, Mahama bro, JM bro, wana bongo, Mahama bro, JM bro, wana. Hecho, wanapu, kodo, wanapu. Yebreo, na yebreo, na yebreo, na yebreo, yebrepa. Brabeji yeno, brabeso yemo.